There was a cherry or currant. Oh, please, it was clearly blackberry with a hint of mischief. I think we need another glass.
This channel is about understanding wine for real.
Not memorizing fancy words.
Not pretending every bottle is mystical.
And not swallowing the wine industry's preferred story just because it sounds elegant.
We want to tell you what's actually going on in the glass.
In the cellar.
And in the market.
Why a wine tastes the way it does.
Why people talk about it the way they do.
And when the story is true.
And when it's just good marketing.
If you want wine without the fog.
You're in the right place. Okay, slightly rude opening, but let's just say it. You are probably not tasting rocks in your wine.
Correct. Your Chablis is not a liquid quarry.
And yet people say mineral all the time. Chalky, flinty, saline, stony. So what are they actually talking about?
Usually a perception, not literal geology flavor transfer. The romantic story is simple. Limestone vineyard, limestone flavor. Slate vineyard, slate flavor. Lovely story. Usually wrong.
Because the minerals in the soil are not turning into the aroma compounds you smell in the glass.
Right. Calcium, potassium, iron, these are not volatilizing into whetstone. So when people describe minerality, they are usually describing something else.
Which is what?
Restrained fruit, high acidity, structural tension. Sometimes sulfur-derived or reductive notes that read as flint, smoke, or struck match.
So minerality is partly an aroma story and partly a texture story.
Exactly. If fruit and oak get quieter, the brain starts noticing line, grip, dryness, and tension. Then it reaches for words like chalky, steely, or mineral.
Minerality is what shows up when fruit, oak, and winemaking stop shouting.
Better. That is far more useful than pretending you are tasting pebbles.
But then people hear this and go too far the other way. They say, oh, so terroir is fake.
No, terroir is real, just not in the cartoon version.
Meaning, sight matters indirectly through the vine.
Yes, water availability, vine stress, temperature behavior, ripening speed, acid retention, phenolic development, aroma precursors. That is where sight matters. Not because the vineyard somehow tastes like a bag of gravel.
So terroir shapes the conditions. Then style decides whether those subtle cues get exposed or buried.
Exactly.
Which is why the Walter Hansel versus Belle Gloss comparison is so useful.
Walter Hansel, Estate Pinot Noir 2021 is restrained. The fruit is there, but quieter. The wine feels tighter, more linear, more tense.
So your brain starts noticing structure, dryness, subtle savory notes, maybe a little earth or tea, and suddenly people say mineral.
Then Belgloss Dairyman comes in with richer fruit, more oak, more volume, more obvious sweetness of impression.
Same broader regional context, very different expression.
Exactly. The quieter cues do not vanish because the soil changed. They get buried under style.
That is the killer point. If minerality were literally coming from the soil, both wines should taste mineral in the same obvious way. They do not.
Which means minerality is usually a perception that emerges or disappears, depending on structure, aroma profile, and winemaking style.
So the clean takeaway is, you are not tasting rocks.
You are tasting chemistry, structure, restraint, and a set of cues your brain labels as minerality.
And terroir still matters.
Deeply. Just not as a fairy tale about licking limestone through Pinot Noir.
Less romantic, maybe. More true.
I will take that trade.
Just right.